Well, good afternoon and welcome. We're so glad that you've joined us for the MDI open house.
Hi there. We'll just do some introductions of us. I'm Anna Diffenderfer, and I am one of the co-directors of the dietetic internship program here. And I lead more of the supervised practice year and the sustainable food systems focus area.
And I'm Lindsay Ganong. I'm the graduate program director and the clinical supervised practice director. So helping out more with the clinical rotations and the internship.
And I'm Jessie.
Oh,
sorry. I'm Jessie. I'm a practicing RD. I'm the graduate assistant program manager.
She's currently in the master's program, so if any of you have questions about that, she's a good resource for that. And then Colleen Kaiser is our former program director, and she's still helping us as the liaison with Ascend, our accrediting body.
Great. So we offer 3 pathways here at the Montana Dietetic Internship. We are going to speak for the most part today about our MSDI. It's a Master's of Science in Dietetic Leadership, and that's a 2-year program in which the second year is the dietetic internship. So admission into the MSDI would include both 36 master's credits and 2 semesters of dietetic internship with that sustainable food systems focus area. So I'll start maybe speaking to the first 2 of these, and then Anna will finish up the slide. So our goal at MDI is really to create emerging professionals who are confident learners. We really, in our coursework, in the dietetic internship rotations, we're giving you many perspectives and really diverse experiences to help you develop as both a graduate level thinker and as that professional who can take on challenges and approach them with a systems lens so that we can find some creative solutions for these problems that we're really finding that are big, ugly, and problems in our culture and society. We want to make sure that you're emerging from this program with a lot of tools that maybe are different than some other programs to deal with these big problems.
And kind of just on that note too, that we really focus on developing your leadership skills. So we want you to enter the workforce, into your careers, whatever you might have aspirations to do. We will expose you to all kinds of different areas of practice and give you the tools to really be leaders in whatever profession or track in dietetics that you would choose to enter into, and really arm you with those progressive and critical thinking skills. Like Lindsay was talking about, that systems thinking perspective is very important to us, for you all to be taking into your careers and into the profession as well, so that, yeah, as Lindsay said, that maybe we can really start to move the needle on some of the things that haven't been budging for the way that we've been doing things kind of the same way for a lot of years. So that's our aim for you all, and we see it in our 250 plus graduates every day. It's really amazing to follow them in their careers and see where they're going and the differences that they're making. So we're really proud of that.
And then in the next 3 or 4 slides, I'm going to give you kind of a short program overview, and we'll talk about that graduate year of graduate coursework. And then Anna will take it from there and bring us into the dietetic internship, that second year of the program. So the Dietetic Systems Leadership MS, like I said, it's 36 credits. So it's across those 2 years. When you finish the 2 years, that's when the MS is awarded. But the first year is coursework only. And that begins for us with a summer course in the first summer. So for this group of applicants, you'll come through in December for priority deadline, or maybe you'll wait till spring D&D match. And then after applicants are admitted, the first class starts May 13th of 2024. So for our Montana State students, they complete oftentimes their undergrad on a Friday and they start that first graduate course on a Monday. It is a tight deadline. And then for others, maybe coming from, I know that in California, this has been the case quite a few times for schools that are on a quarter system. Maybe you're not totally completed with your undergrad yet when you're starting this program. And those are all things that we can work with. So it is an early start, but it's only one summer course and it's about 6 weeks. And then you have a break and there's a fall semester with 3 courses, spring semester with 3 more courses, and then just 1 more summer course that second summer. And that's what we refer to as the first year of coursework. So we're accepting 25 students into the MSDI program. And then in the second year for those students is the internship year. That's where the sustainable food systems focus comes in. And that's where we have 36 weeks of internship or 2 semesters of internship where interns are coming to Montana for orientation, and then they're going to one of 6 geographical areas from there throughout Montana to complete their major supervised practice or their internship from there. So let's talk a little bit more about the coursework. Okay, and logistics. So we will bring you to campus, to Bozeman. That's where MSU's major campus is, in Bozeman, in June of 2024. So that would be right when you're starting the program. And that would be to get a few days of orientation in and really get to know each other and your classmates. Then I explain the 4 semesters of coursework. Most folks can remain in their home community, or maybe they want to move and try a new place for that year. Really, all you need is some excellent internet access, be able to meet with colleagues and classmates for group projects. Sometimes you'll have synchronous class times that you need to be available for. But most folks can continue to work and earn money and try to save money then for their supervised practice year. Supervised practice then begins in that second August, in August of 25 for this cohort. And that's when folks travel to Bozeman. And they're here for 5 to 11 weeks. And then from there, they go to one of the major clinical sites, which does not include Bozeman. No one gets to stay in Bozeman the whole time. And that's because our clinical supervised practice are focused on comprehensive care facilities, which are a little bit bigger than what Bozeman has to offer. And so that's why you come to Bozeman and then you leave Bozeman for the rest of your dietetic internship. So the year 1 looks like everything above that bright gold line. So there's a summer course, 3 fall courses, 3 spring courses, 1 more summer course. And these are cohort based, meaning that the folks who are all accepted in this application round are going to go through these classes pretty much together. There are some classes that are interprofessional. For example, electives that you'll be able to do in spring. You might be with nursing students, community health, sustainable food and bioenergy, or excuse me, sustainable food systems is the name of the master's. Some of those folks might be in your classes. So it is cohort based, but you do have a little bit of opportunity to work with folks who are not in the nutrition path. We do find from feedback from interns that they're able to work not full time, often because they're spending 20 to 30 hours a week on coursework, group meetings, exams, quizzes, all of that kind of stuff. So it is a demanding course load. And although we really want to encourage people to be able to work, we also encourage them to maintain a good balance. Our graduate school does require a minimum 3.0 GPA. So really Bs are kind of the minimum folks can be getting in their graduate coursework. And we do find that that's totally attainable. It's just something to be prepared for when you're moving into the program, that it's going to take a lot of time to be making those grades. The program of study for this program is coursework plus the internship or supervised practice plus a professional project. So you'll notice in spring of 25, there are 3 credits of professional project. And this is something new we've added to the program to give students a small experience in conducting some research and doing some research writing and presenting their findings. We find that that's a really important thing, that we want to make sure you're leaving this program with some graduate writing skills, knowing how to evaluate evidence, and confidently presenting to a group. So we have added that project, and the 3 of those things combined are what are going to allow us to award that Master's of Science in Dietetic Systems Leadership.
Okay, so year 2 coming into supervised practice, so that's 2nd August. It's a wild and fun ride. So professional development and foundation weeks are those initial weeks that Lindsay was referring to. We have the whole cohort come to the Bozeman area. We spend a lot of time here on campus, and we're doing workshops and tours and trainings and have guest speakers and developing skills and really getting confident in entering into this supervised practice experience. We have a tea building day, which is a picture on the left here. We do spend some time in the classroom, and we do hands-on training. So this is learning some of those new skills that have been added to the competencies that we're expected to have exposure to, like taking blood pressures and like helping people with their insulin dosing and things like that, calculating those things. And then we do a lot of tours, like I said, and there'll be more pictures of some of the tours that we take, and often work with some community partners. So the picture on the right, the interns were working with a summer lunch program that we have in the area here. And so it's varied, and it's, you know, long days, but it's very enriching and arms you with some really interesting skills and helps you get to know each other better as well. So a sample of kind of what that schedule looks like. So again, that first week in Bozeman, the first 3 weeks are considered that professional development and sustainable food systems foundation. And by sustainable food systems foundation, what that means is we have people come from all over the country and with varying degrees of knowledge and interest and intention with learning about sustainable food systems. And so it's really, really interesting to get exposure to our local food system here. We're very lucky in this area to have a pretty vibrant food system. We take tours and we learn from the professionals in the different areas of a food system and how they interrelate, and then talk about what our role is in integrating into that as food nutrition professionals, and how we could kind of make connections and help people along the various chains of that. So then once the larger group at the end of the 3 weeks is all together, then then that big group is broken down into 3 different smaller groups. And so that's for the Sustainable Food Systems Applied Weeks. And I'll talk a little bit more about each of these here in just a minute. But so the first cohort that comes to the Sustainable Food Systems Applied Weeks, it's a 2-week block. It might be 10 of the 25 interns, or 8 or 9. It's just depends. But then the other interns are doing different rotations in the Bozeman area. So they might be working with our local food bank, our school nutrition programs, our WIC, or various rotations like that that are in and around the Bozeman area. And then if you're in that second group, then you would come back to campus and spend those 2 weeks with me, and so on. So that's why there's the variation where it could be 5 weeks. So if you're in that first cohort with me in those applied weeks, you'd be in Bozeman for about five weeks. If you ended up being in the third cohort, then you might be in the Bozeman area up to 11 weeks or so. And then after that time period, then you would go off to your track wherever your placement would be. And we have this kind of shows you the map of where we've got our tracks lined up here on the right. So we have Kalispell, Missoula, Helena, Great Falls, Butte, Billings, and Wyoming are tracks that you would go to then after that time in the Bozeman area. One thing that we've added that we really want to emphasize is that we are a very inclusive internship program. And so we, as a college, have a pretty strong DEI focus, diversity, equity, and inclusion focus. And we do as well as a program. And so we want to let all of our applicants know that when you come to MDI, we do require that you participate in activities that promote systems thinking and diversity, equity, and inclusion in healthcare. With curiosity, with reflection, with intention to integrate these skills and knowledge into your practice, with a growth mindset and openness to discussion. And sometimes they're tough topics to discuss, but they're things that we can't bury our heads in the sand and pretend that we don't need to have knowledge in these areas. But so we do training. We do a 3-hour training on this healthcare LGBTQ plus allies training. We have a local healthcare clinic that does the training for us. We talk about a variety of different sustainable food systems topics, and we do some food industry sponsored tours. For example, in the past, we've worked with our Montana Beef Council. We've worked with the Dairy Council before. And so that's something that we expose the interns to as part of our agricultural industry, or it's a large part of our economic system in Montana. And then we really focus on weight inclusive nutrition care and a variety of other things as well. So if you have questions about that or want to learn more about that, then we're happy to provide you with more information there. Focusing back on our Sustainable Food Systems Foundation Week. So these are blended again with the Professional Development Week. So the first 3 weeks, again, Professional Development and Sustainable Food Systems Foundation. So these are some pictures of tours that we have taken and we typically take every year. The one on the left is at a nonprofit slaughtering facility that is called Producer Partnership, and they have a focus on getting local beef into schools and into the local food system, and they're doing that by allowing ranchers to donate cattle that then they can process and send out to the community. So it's a really neat model. It's the only one in the country, and they're just getting going, and it's going really well. So it's an interesting idea to learn about. And then we also tour this large greenhouse production facility called D&D Greenhouses. So again, in the vein of exposing you all to the different areas of the food system, we tour recycling facilities, compost facilities, different production models like permaculture, farms, animal agriculture, and we've done dairy tours before. Processors and retail, sort of the consumer end of things. So we really try and get an idea of all of those different areas that make up a food system, and again, what our role is in that. Then we have those 2 weeks, right, when we're in our smaller groups in the Sustainable Food Systems Applied time. And during that time, we work at our student farm. We have a certified organic 3-acre vegetable production farm that's student run. And we spend time out there, usually about 12 to 15 hours a week. And so we'll get out in the field and work. There's some pictures coming up, I think, from that. We help them with their CSA program, with their farm stand, lots of different interesting things that we can learn by actually getting our hands in the dirt and learning from the producers. We do a lot of cooking. There's a lot of food involved in these 2 weeks. We have a lunch and learn series that I think we'll talk about here in a second too. We have a full day that we spend on food preservation. So we do fermenting, we learn canning and about drying and freezing and all those different ways to extend the life of your produce. And then we also have our culinary medicine program during that time as well. And I'll talk about each of those components here in a second. So speaking of culinary medicine, so this is a program that we started in 2017, and it's been evolving ever since. And it's in high demand. We don't have enough of us or enough time to fill the demand yet. But the premise of the program is that it's innovative and experiential. So it's a hands-on cooking program. We're developing personal and professional culinary skills. We are really focused on this interprofessional education piece and imparting some nutrition education with other health profession students. So we work with our medical students and our nursing students primarily, and open it up to other health profession students as well. And so the dietitian or the dietetic interns have a little bit of a didactic component, and that's the picture on the bottom left there, doing a presentation in the kitchen. And then we break up in groups and cook together, and that's the picture on the right. And then we have a meal together and talk about the importance of nutrition in patient care, and really posture ourselves as the food and nutrition experts and part of that healthcare team. So it's been a really great program. It's a model program for a lot of other, I just attended Fancy, and there was a lot of talk about why it's important to have a culinary medicine program or how to get it started. And I thought, wow, that's cool. We've been doing this for 7 years now, and we've got it pretty ironed out and nailed. So we're really proud of being able to offer that as a component of the internship. This Hot Topic Lunch and Learn is another way to broaden our knowledge and awareness of different sustainable food systems topics and how they relate to nutrition and dietetics. So typically the interns choose a topic that they're interested in, the other intern, and then they present it to us in this where they're doing the background research and then presenting it to the rest of us, so that we have some basis of knowledge about the different topics. I love this one. It was one of the interns did her topic on the degradation of plastics by mushrooms, and I thought, wow, that's not something you hear about every day, but it's something really cool and something that we should probably know a little bit about. But the topics are wide and varied, and it's really fascinating to have those conversations. We do have critical conversations around these topics after that, and we eat really good food too. All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, yeah. So the supervised practice regions, as I mentioned before, once you leave Bozeman after 5 or 11 weeks, however long you're here, you're going to go to your comprehensive clinical facility site. And that's where you're going to do all your DI rotations. And so for those folks who haven't had a chance to make it to Montana yet, we want to give you a sense of how far of a distance there are between these places. So Bozeman's down in southwest Montana. Butte is next, as well as Helena and Billings. Those are the next closest to Bozeman, and they're all hour to 2 hours away. So these are not, when you're thinking through your application and which sites you might like to be placed in, commuting from the Bozeman area is not likely going to be an option. And Anna, if you want to head to the next slide.
Sure.
Montana's a gorgeous state. And here we have some distances from Bozeman to these other places. Helena's the closest at just under 100 miles. And the picture on the left is in Glacier, the Going to the Sun road that goes through Glacier National Park up by Kalispell. And it is a beautiful, beautiful state. But if you click again, we also have
Fair warning.
winter driving conditions. So one of the reasons it's not a great idea to think about commuting is that there are often mountain passes between these towns where even if it's raining in town, it might be snowing and icy and dangerous up on the pass. And we want to make sure that folks are prepared, thinking about having a safe car, all-weather tires, or putting some snow tires on, and just being really prepared and thinking about, is the adventure of traveling around Montana as part of your internship a good fit for you? And so it's kind of a full disclosure. It's a beautiful state, and we do have 4 seasons, and that's part of the deal.
All right. So what does that supervised practice time look like? So once you leave the Bozeman area, you will enter into a variety of different rotations. But we do focus, your clinical nutrition is comprised of about 13 to 15 weeks. And for a lot of the tracks, we have a rural hospital component as well that you might spend 2 weeks at. And that might be somewhere that's a little bit outside of the area that you're living in, like an hour away or something like that. These are comprehensive care facilities, and about 75% of the hospitals in Montana are these small rural hospitals with 25 beds or less. And they almost all of them have a dietitian that works with them. And it's kind of a neat opportunity because you typically are the food service manager, the clinical manager, and you're the community nutrition representative. So you might work with the WIC program, or you might work with the school systems or things like that. So you get to kind of practice all the areas in a position like that. Community nutrition is about 6 to 7 weeks. And again, that's our food banks, our WIC, our Office of Public Instruction, our lots of different rotations. Some of our like farm to school programs and things like that. We have interns placed in those different community nutrition focused areas. Food service management, again, 6 to 7 weeks. And that includes hospital food service management, K to 12 food service. And yeah, so then, and typically, some interns get placed with our university food service operations as well. So we have the University of Montana and Montana State here, and then we do have a partner in Dillon that we have placed interns with as well. And then 2 weeks of self-selected. So this is a time frame where you get to decide what you would like to do and what you'd like to focus on. And you set up your own rotations, and sky's the limit. You could do whatever you would like. And we will work with you to make sure that you're set up to be able to do that. The picture on the top left here, top right, sorry, is Candace working with the Oregon Ducks during her self-select time period. And again, it's 30 weeks of supervised practice, plus the orientation and sustainable food systems weeks makes up that 36 weeks. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we also have partnerships with some reservation communities for selected tracks. So for example, some folks who are placed in Kalispell or Great Falls may have the opportunity to go with Fast Blackfeet, which is food access and sustainability team. They have a really cool food pantry, and we have a dietitian alum who's up there working with that community on food sovereignty issues. And then there's also the Blackfeet Community Hospitals. You can see that the numbers on the right column, 1 through 7, match up with numbers on the state map of where the reservations are. We don't have partnerships with Rocky Boy or Fort Belknap right now, or Fort Peck, but in the Missoula area, some of those folks get to go to St. Ignatius, which is on the southern part of the Flathead Reservation. And we call that CSKT, the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes. And that's a diabetes center and community program. In Billings area, we've developed some new rotations that are happening this year, which we're really excited about. There's Hardin is a town right off the Crow Reservation, and we're partnering there with their K-12 nutrition program and their farm to school. And then with Yellowbird Lifeway Center, they have food sovereignty programming that serves the Northern Cheyenne Reservation community. So these rotations are somewhat limited, but growing, and something that folks are always interested in about the program. So we wanted to put it out there and give folks a sense of like where these communities are and what type of rotations. There's also the Buffalo Nation's Food Systems Initiative, which is an initiative, research and education initiative on campus. And a few interns normally get to rotate with that program as well.
So these are just some fun pictures too. So the top left was outside of our permaculture demonstration farm tour. The bottom left is at our team building day up at Highlight Reservoir. And then on the right here is this current class that just all went off into their tracks around the state, working at our student farm Towns Harvest.
Great. So getting your hands beady with application logistics. The intern pictured here on the left now is a preceptor, and we do always like to let folks know that. So this internship started in 2011-12 with its first class, and we have over, like Anna said, 250 graduates. We have more than 70 sites in Montana, and the majority of those sites have MDI alum who are preceptors. So it's really, we have a lot of strong relationships out there and are really happy with how the program's grown and that we get to support learning and creating new dietitians. So
you're often placed with preceptors who know what your experience is like. Yeah. They know, they're very familiar with the journey that you're on. So it's nice to have that support.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. So we do have a pre-selection process, meaning that undergraduates from Montana State do get to apply to the program ahead of other selection deadlines. So normally those folks make up about a third to a half of our class of 25, just depending on how many apply. But they, everyone who applies is measured against the same selection criteria. So really the benefit those folks get is that they just get to try ahead of time with a smaller pool. And then the national selection. So this year we're trying to do this ahead of the spring match. We're doing it more like a graduate program. So we're doing a priority deadline, December 15th. Zoom interviews will begin January 3rd. So kind of giving folks a heads up that maybe when you're off between semesters is likely when our interview time will be. So I don't know if you're international or something, we can probably work with that and maybe shooting us an email after your DICAS is submitted to kind of let us know that there's some logistics to work around, but trying to just give folks a heads up of when we're planning. And then we'd like to have the selection process done and notify applicants by January 16th of offers. Then we would like an answer within a few days from that, and then $1,000 deposit, do that next week. So the priority deadline in December is really designed for folks who are pretty sure they want to come to Montana State, and if accepted, they're ready to make a commitment to the program. If you feel like you're not totally sure yet and you want to have some more options, then participating in match with a February 15th deadline and doing the D&D match might be a better fit for you, because then you're going to have more open selection between a variety of programs, and then you would find out your match in April again, and it would be a similar process where within like a day of match is announced, we want a commitment and then $1,000 deposit within a week too.
I would say too, we're also accepting applications on a rolling basis. So the December 15th is our priority deadline. But if on January 1st you decided, hey, wait a minute, I wanted to submit my application, we still would accept it then.
Mm-hmm. We would consider it, yeah. So what do we need? For MSDI applications, a bachelor's degree, including that verification statement of completion of the didactic program in dietetics. There's a $57 application fee, which you can pay online. We set that up this year, and we're hoping that that's very convenient for you. If you're unable to pay online, you can sure mail us a check as well, and that address is on the website. We do not require nor really consider GRE scores. You're welcome to send them to us, but even our graduate school doesn't really consider GRE scores anymore. And then the DICAS application. So we do ask for 3 references, and that those be professional rather than personal references, meaning that you've interacted with that person at school, in a job, in a volunteer capacity, any of those. Do not apply to the Montana State Graduate School until after you've been selected. So we have an internal selection process where we go into the DICAS portal and we pull your application from there. Dietitians and preceptors from around the state are on our selection committee, as well as the 3 of us who are here on the open house with you. So we are actually taking a close look at everyone's application who comes through. And then once selections have been made, that's when we would have you go through the formality of doing that grad school admissions process. So don't waste any money or time on that. For DI only application requirements, so these are folks who already have a master's degree and that DPD verification statement. Then the DI would be a 24-25, or you could apply now for a 25-26 slot. So for 24-25, we have 7 slots open, and those are in Billings and Great Falls and Sheridan, Wyoming. We're limited to those locations. If you wanted to wait a year because you absolutely want to try to be in Kalispell, Helena, Missoula, or Butte, then you could apply for a 25-26 DI year. And that would mean coming to Bozeman in August for that orientation professional development, taking those 12 credits, 6 in the fall, 6 in the spring, and doing all of the DI, just that second year portion. Again, no GREs. We're still going to use the DICAS application, just indicate that you're interested in DI only. And don't apply to the graduate school yet either. Work through DICAS and through our processes. So in that personal statement, Anna, do you want to speak to this one?
Sure, I can.
Yeah.
So the personal statement, we do have a grading rubric that we score your applications against, and again, it's the same for the pre-select and for the national applicants. And our committee uses this scoring rubric. And so the personal statement is actually weighted about 40% of that rubric. So it's very valuable piece of writing in which we hope you are telling us your story. So a point that we always try and make is to encourage you not to just reiterate your resume or reiterate your college experience, the classes that you've taken, those sorts of things. We want to know who you are. We want to know your career aspirations, sort of your goals and things like that. And so we have some very specific questions that we ask you to answer in narrative format. So it's not a short answer kind of a personal statement. It's you're writing us a letter and addressing each of these different A through F questions. So again, it's one of those things that you want to have it be some of your best writing. So run it against your DPD directors, run it against the writing center, friends, whoever it might be, to help you proof it and make sure that it's telling the story that you're wanting to tell, and also answering the questions that we've asked you to answer. So our review process, again, is scored by the directors and Jesse. And so all 3 of us will read all of the applications. We really know how much work we're all dietitians. We know how much work and effort it takes to get this application together. And we want to honor that too, all that work and effort that you've put in. So the 3 of us read all of the applications. And then we have a committee that is made up of our preceptors and practicing RDNs around the state. And they each of your applications will be read by at least 5 people and then scored, and we compile the scores. So again, scores are based on scholastic achievement, work and volunteer experiences, professional references, and your fit for MDI. So we have a really unique program, and I'm sure other programs you've looked at and compared this one to, I think that's pretty obvious. We use the whole state to deliver the program, and we offer a whole variety of different experiences versus a program that might be just more clinical focused, and you're kind of in one setting and have a couple of exposures to different areas of practice as well during the time, just to get your competencies in there. So we want to know that that's a good fit for you. And so that, again, that personal statement is 40% of your application score.
So the slots available, I did mention, but just wanted to reiterate. So for 24-25 DI, we have 7 slots, and those are Great Falls, Billings, and Sheridan, Wyoming. And then mostly whose applications we're looking for in this round are the 24-26 MSDI class, and that would be 25 slots open for any of these sites to indicate. We also would accept a DI only application for 25-26 for someone who's coming in with that master's degree or would be completing their master's maybe spring of 25 and then wanting to start their internship in the fall. That would be another good fit for a DI only track. So program costs are based on 36 credits. And these are online only fees. So they're the most affordable tuition and fees that we're able to give you. And so there's a difference between resident and non-resident tuitions. However, the program enrollment fee, that's your program fee for the dietetic internship portion, and that is charged the fall and spring of your second year. So when you begin the program, you're paying for credits and tuition each semester. And then once you get to your second fall, your DI year, you would be paying for 6 credits of tuition and fees plus half of that program enrollment fee, so about $5,000. And then same for that final spring semester, you would pay for 6 credits tuition and fees plus the other half of that program enrollment fee. So you can see the totals there.
And one note on that MDI application fee too, I think that gets confusing for people. That's separate than the DICAS fee. So the DICAS fee is its own thing, and then you pay per program that you're so there's a DICAS fee, and then there's a D&D match digital fee that's separate too, and that's, I think, a base fee, and then per program that you're applying to, you pay an additional fee. So there are 3 different fees. So the application fee comes directly to us, and then the DICAS fee gets paid to them.
Yeah. And you don't need to pay D&D if you're applying to our priority deadline. We're not using match for that December 15th. So don't go through that process. And this is for folks who are considering the DI only. And it's what you'll notice is it's just the 12 credits. That's what's different. You're only paying for that second year or the 1 year coming in the fall and being done in the spring. It's 6 credits fall, 6 credits spring, plus half of the program fee each of those semesters. So financial aid, the program is financial aid eligible. So you can contact the Office of Financial Aid to see if you're eligible. And the way that works is for the MSDI, the first summer semester, it's going to be part of your 23-24 financial aid package. So that's something to really consider coming in, is that it's only 3 credits of tuition in the summer, and your new financial aid package will not start until fall of 24 if you apply for the 24-25 year. So that tuition would need to be paid out of the prior year's financial aid award. Then we also have quite a number of scholarships available that MDI has generated for the dietetic internship year. as well. We gave away $20,400 to 10 recipients for this DI year that are currently in. And we always encourage folks to apply for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics scholarships. And we've seen lots of interns be successful with that application. And then for that first year, in the past, we don't have word yet if we'll have it this year, but in the past, we've had a professional master's fellowship, which we've had 2 of those awards, and they are 6 credits of tuition waiver that can be applied, 3 credits to summer, 3 credits to fall in that first year. And that's a competitive process, but again, one that once folks are admitted, we would be able to let you know that how many awards would be available, and our team would be assessing those fellowship applications as well. And a lot of times we're using a DEI focused criteria to kind of looking at individuals' circumstances and trying to make awards in that way.
And now we'd love to hear your questions.
I have a question. I just want to know, like, as you see a lot of people come through the internship, what are some characteristics that you look for as you're going through the interview process with them?
Yeah, that comes back to that program fit idea, right? So we like to say first and foremost that you have an adventurous spirit. So if you feel like you adapt well, you're resilient, you're flexible, you don't mind the winter, the a little bit of traveling, and that you have that growth mindset, you have an open mind, you are open to all kinds of different experiences, and you can see the value in all of those different experiences as well. Even if it's not what you expected it to be, there's still something to learn in every situation that you're given, right? So those are all really good fits. I don't know if you had more than two.
Yeah, adaptability, I think, is a really important one. Being willing to take things as they come. I think that there's a tendency among folks that gravitate towards dietetics that they kind of want to know exactly how they can succeed and exactly what the schedule is going to look like well in advance. And internship year is really this opportunity to try on all these different professional settings. And the professional world is very different than the scholastic one. So you're in this program, you're going to be transitioning into this new way of measuring your success. And that's why in internship foundation weeks, we do focus on the growth mindset a lot, because perfection is not the goal. And we want to get you out of that earning A's mentality and into the experiential learning practice. So if you have a head start on that, sure, let us know.
Awesome, thank you.
I just had a question about the personal statement. Do you guys like to see more of like a question answer format or like a continuous essay format?
Continuous essay, yeah, a narrative format is preferred. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question about the different rotation sites. Are there like specific areas or concentrations, I guess, that each rotation focuses on, or are they all kind of just focusing on the same things? It's just more of like your preference of location.
So all of the different tracks around the state. So if you imagine 25 different tracks that are built and tailored to the different time slots that we have, they're comparable. So some people might have a critical access hospital experience and others may not. Some people may have experience working with one of our tribal nations and others may not. But you're all going to get the same amount of clinical weeks, community and food service, and sometimes sustainable food systems also.
Okay.
And Anna and I are really working on having regular advising with you all too, so that when there is an opportunity to match you with a site that you might be particularly interested in, that we can take that opportunity. So it's not a guarantee that we can build tracks individualized to you, because with 25 folks, that's impossible. But where we can, we'd love to match you with stuff that you're passionate about.
Okay, great.
Our website does have a list of places that we typically, partners that we have, rotation sites that we have. So that gives you kind of an idea of the different areas of where we have rotations established.
I have a question. Or first, I just want to say thank you both for all the information. It was really helpful to have that background. But I kind of was interested in, earlier you had mentioned about the professional development opportunities, and I was just curious what those kind of looked like, some examples. Do we get to attend conferences or have opportunities like that?
Sometimes, yeah. So we have in the past had those weeks align with maybe a farm to school conference, and we've gone to that, or a one of our statewide nonprofits named Arrow has a conference that has in the past aligned with the time when we're all together, and we've attended those kinds of things. So we do definitely take advantage of those opportunities when we have them. Lindsay, do you want to talk about the clinical simulation workshop?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one thing that we always do in those 3 weeks of orientation and foundation is a clinical simulation workshop. So interns we have like a morning intro with 2 other clinical preceptors from the state. And we kind of do some review and brushing up. And then we hire 3 actors and we rent out the nursing simulation lab, where you actually get to go in, do a nutrition assessment, deliver some nutrition education, and talk through an intervention with this mock patient. And then the second day is a clinical skills workshop focused on some of those newer competencies, including a manual blood pressure measurement. We use mannequins and we do bedside NG tube placement, monitoring blood glucose. So folks are sticking themselves and then they're teaching a partner how you would do that. And we do some more diabetes review. And then one of the other newer competencies is a swallow eval. And so we actually do that for an infant looking for good latch and milk transfer, but have been integrating in an adult swallow eval too. So that's one example of some of the development. We also have an assignment where each intern is doing a presentation at our state conference at the end of the year. So you do all have the opportunity to go to the Food and Nutrition Summit. That's what our state affiliate calls it. And that's in different places all throughout the state. And this year's the first year back in person since 2019. So we're navigating that conference planning right now. And everyone does get a chance to present, and MDI does pay the program, the attendee fee for you for that. It's just a matter then of finding some lodging or rooming with other interns and that kind of thing. Other professional development stuff that we do in those professional development weeks are all the tours that Anna's talking about, the Sustainable Food Systems Foundation, that's all included. And then we are orienting you to all the assignments that are required during the internship weeks. We're talking through growth mindset, how to have difficult conversations and conflict resolution. Maybe we've gone back and forth on doing some personality quizzing and communication styles, getting to know yourself a bit and working. We always have a team building day. So those are some of the things to look forward to, as well as getting oriented with the whole culinary medicine project that you're going to do. Those are the things that fill up those 3 weeks that we call professional development or orientation and foundation weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Jesse, did you notice any questions that were submitted in registration that we didn't get a chance to cover?
Yeah, one on here by, looks like Francis said, what are some of the graduates have gone to in careers, recent graduates for careers?
I would definitely say low-hanging fruit still is clinicals. So we see a lot of graduates go into clinical positions. And there's a big need for clinical dietitians right now. We have so many job openings in the state. So that, in fact, in the country, from what I'm hearing. So, and even if you aren't clinically focused, I think it's a really nice segue into the career. It's a very good exposure to some of the treatment side of nutrition and dietetics care versus the preventive side. So it gives you really good perspective when you're working in preventive care of some of the things that you're working with people to try and prevent. So it gives you a really good perspective like that, even if it's not an area of practice that you stay in or retire from someday. So definitely that. We have food service directors, we have people working in research at national levels or at other universities. We have people working in farm to school programs and some of the sustainable food systems areas with nonprofits and in different areas like that. What else, Lindsay?
Yeah, I was thinking as well that we have folks in private practice, maybe not right after they're coming out, but definitely have quite a few alum in private practice too. Thinking about my own career, I was at a critical access hospital in rural Oregon where I got to do inpatient, outpatient, and long-term care. Then I worked in Montana. I was the grad assistant for this program, working with interns. Then I was at Extension with our SNAP Ed and FNEP programs. So those are nutrition education programs for folks eligible for SNAP benefits. And it's a statewide program that does education, but also policy systems and environmental changes to try to make the healthy choice the easy choice. And from there, I was a school food service director in K-12 in one of our reservation communities on the Flathead Reservation. And then I worked as a director for a statewide nonprofit that worked on food systems development, and then was super fortunate to come back here and be graduate director here. So those are just some examples of all the things you can do with the dietetics degree. And I know Anna's had varied experiences like that too, that if you want to share.
Yeah, myself, I worked clinical. I worked in a telehealth position, worked on research, and then came into this position. So we really arm you in this internship to be leaders in all areas of dietetics, but also the areas that aren't asking for a registered dietitian, that our skills really could contribute well to, and we could excel in and be leaders in those areas as well. So we send out, you never stop hearing from us, by the way, if you come in our program. We send out job listings daily, and often they're not asking for a dietitian, but it's something that a dietitian would be excellent at, especially with our unique lens that we arm you with the sustainable food systems and that systems thinking perspective. So yeah, we see our interns working and excelling in all areas.
And out of respect for folks' time, I know it is 2:00. So if you have to go, please know that you can reach out to Anna or me or Jesse directly with any of your questions, and we'd be very happy to set up an individual time to talk or just email. And then for any folks who'd like to stay on and continue to ask questions, you're very welcome to. We'll hang around.
Right. I think we've given that you're supposed to count to 5, I think. And if there's still silence after that, then we can call it good, right? Thank you all so much for coming. And for those of you who are going to be joining us on the recording, same goes for you as well. Reach out with any questions. If you'd like to set up a time to chat with Lindsay or I or both of us, we're happy to do that. And best of luck in your application development and that whole process. So
Thank you.
great to have you all here. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care, everybody.